Welcome back to Mr. Weather Updates. Now, obviously I know and I do understand that I have not been doing the forecast for a while because I've been quite busy. But I feel like it's important that we have a look at the weather and what we'll be having in the next couple of days using the Weather Channel, GFS, UKV, ECAW Outlook and Long Range for a little bit. But I'll say the main focus is obviously the short range, because as we can see, there is very intense heat that is going to be hitting the UK between Tuesday and perhaps Friday. So that'd be like a basically all of next week. This heat is very dangerous, in my opinion. It's quite severe, especially for June. And this one is likely to break some records, and I'll show you what that means in a minute when we look at these models, because it's really intense. I've not seen the models do this in ages, actually, when I did this channel, which is ridiculous, because when I did record this, it was in 2024, where the temperature was really disappointing. But, obviously, since I'm warming climate, we can see it is going to get more likely, unfortunately. So I'm going to get straight to it. There is also an amber warning from the Met Office, which we'll have a look at. There's quite a few, actually. So we'll have a look at that also after the Weather Channel Outlook for precipitation radar. So let's just have a look at the live radar on the Weather Channel Outlook. We can see there was a little bit of showers, actually, especially where I am, actually, coincidentally, which is around about this area, so Southern Leeds, West Yorkshire area. And it's likely, if we go along, we could get a few more showers popping up in the northeast, maybe Northern England, throughout the day. So you can see some development showers going up towards Middlesbrough, Newcastle area. Perhaps western areas as well. However, we may see areas of the south being a bit drier, or maybe a bit of showers, actually. I've just noticed about that. A bit of showers in London there with some thickening cloud. If I have a look at the temperatures, it's been quite hot, actually, today. It's a lot warmer than it was yesterday. You can see here where we've got the hottest areas, which is London. We can see it's getting towards like 27, 28, 29. I think it got to 30, 31 degrees in some areas. So I'll look at very quickly, actually. Look at the daily highs and lows of the weather. Oops, not that one. Daily high and low temperatures that is produced from the net weather radar. Can't seem to find it now. There we go. You can see what our highest temperature was. It says here about we could definitely saw 30 degrees exceeded into the temperatures. It could have got a bit hotter than this, because sometimes I feel like these weather stations do actually underdo the temperatures, but it's definitely got to 30 degrees. I think it will go up to 31 degrees if the cloud is not too stubborn in the south. So we are now looking at the serious bit. It's looking at the heat warnings. Now I expect that we might get this. One of these two, perhaps both, will happen. We're gonna have the amber extreme warning, which will probably be a red warning by tomorrow, in my opinion. Why? Because I feel like these temperatures are developing into the widely mid to late high 30s, which is exceptional for the UK. Don't really see that very often. So I feel like it is possible we can get to a red warning, and it's quite a widespread red warning as well. So not a lot of people are immune to it. Another thing that could happen is this amber extreme warning could move further up north, because obviously northern areas, they're not exactly immune to it. So, we'll have to see what happens there. So, let's have a look at some of these amber extreme warnings. There's actually two amber extreme warnings. There's one covering most of southern England, southwestern areas, some of South Wales as well. There's another one starting on Wednesday and Thursday where we can see it spreading more further north, so like northwestern England, Manchester, a little bit of East Yorkshire as well, and a bit north Lincolnshire, and spreading a little further south into Cornwall as well, so it's a bit more widespread. Let's have a look at the first one, which is starting from tomorrow to Tuesday. We've got a developing hot spell through Monday and Tuesday, That will likely to lead to some widespread impacts. Obviously, this is an amber warning, so it is a little bit more serious, and probably would add some precaution into that going out. So let's have a look. Obviously, that could affect. So it can cause widespread impacts on people and infrastructure. So, as you expect, obviously, if people want to visit the coastal areas, obviously, last heat wave where it got to 35 Celsius in May, I think we recorded like 20, 30 deaths from people jumping into, especially reservoirs and lakes, which is caused by cold water shock. So, obviously, it does sound like a bit of common sense, but it's very important we have that common sense in that heat. Obviously, because your body will not handle it. It's just not possible. Obviously, the deaths. And the oceans as well. A lot of people may visit that. It's a little bit safer than obviously jumping in a reservoir or whatever. But still, could be quite busy. Could be still some incidents. Probably people going too far out to sea. Obviously, like I said, the sea temperatures are very low. At the moment, still, it's not exactly hard up. So, that's kind of what will happen. Another thing, again, obviously, adverse health impacts slightly, especially people, the elderly, the very young. Not just that, we could see fit in health people as well. People who probably are good in the heat, but probably will take advantage of it. So be careful of that. Again, sunburns, there's very high UV levels, so a lot of sunburns, make sure you get sun cream on with high SPF ratings on. Another thing, of course, heat exhaustion, dehydration, nausea, cramps, fatigue, all that, but migraines as well, could definitely, make the heat will definitely make it worse with them. So make sure you do avoid that in close contact. Delays again, so that could be delays to infrastructure as well. So obviously not the great. Obviously, some of that infrastructure is not built to have high 30s, if that's what I'm saying. Obviously, again, heat systems will fail. Again, services like power may be lost to homes and businesses. So obviously, please drink plenty of water, especially between when it gets the hottest. What you could do in the morning is you could open up the window and let the cold air in, or the coolish air, and then close it back on, and then close the blinds. Because then you'll have maintaining a cool house. That's how you insulate. That's insulating it, so you're not conducting any heat anymore. So it's insulating your house. What else? Again, make sure you bring some water with you. Perhaps with a flask again. That'll be very useful for that. Put some ice in it. I think water is the best drink for this type of weather as well. Make sure to wear light clothes as well. So make sure you're not wearing like black clothes where it could absorb the sun even more, probably cause more effects. So here's some detail about this. Now, obviously, we know that it's not just the high temperatures; it's also the high humidity levels. It will still be like if it got to 38 degrees, let's say, which it probably will, or mid to high 30s. It will still be relatively high humidity for that temperature, so it'll probably feel like 45, 50 Celsius because the heat index, you get, obviously, with an increased humidity, you get a higher heat index. So it's obviously, that's why we probably have that amber warning. So it's not just a dry heat, unfortunately, for now anyway. Especially going to be worse overnight because that's where the humidity rises, very sweaty nights to come. Now, widespread areas will be low to mid-30s, but in southern areas, it'll be mid, perhaps even high 30s, in my opinion. I think they're kind of underdoing it there. But that'll be on Tuesday, wouldn't it? So, obviously, that's probably the lower temperatures, but still quite hot. Again, urban areas such as London, so urban heat islands as well. Some areas could be very hot at night. Warm at night, So, some places will remain over 20 Celsius at night. This warning has a medium likelihood and medium impact, which means it's fairly likely and it's going to probably cause a lot of impacts. That's what it means. And these are the affected areas as well. So obviously we've got East Midlands, East of England, London and South East, South West of England, Wales, West Midlands. So a lot of population, a lot of people live in that area. So it's going to That's why, really, we've got that. Now, looking at our second hour warning, again, same things. This time it's a little bit more widespread. We have hot and humid weather continuing again, perhaps even higher temperatures. Again, I'm not going to read all that. I've just done it for you already. But let's have a look at a little bit more details on this. So again, this is probably the highest it's going to get in this area between Wednesday and Thursday. So, for example, it continues. We're going to get over 30 Celsius with late 30s, high 30s are possible. And again, some areas will not even go into the teens, probably stay around 20 degrees, which is ridiculous. I mean, that's you know. And obviously, unfortunately, that means we're going to have higher humidity. And you can see with this amber warning, it can very easily get up to a red warning because you can see here, slightly, and it has a very high impact. It's got a high impact. So it's very likely we could see a red warning quite soon. And perhaps it getting more widespread. Again, look at all these areas. I mean, this time it's actually including Yorkshire and Humber, northwestern England as well. So it's a lot more populous areas for any impacts to happen. Okay, so let's have a look at the temperatures for the UKV. Having a look at the percentage for the next 90 days and the temperatures again. So looking at the precipitation, that was yesterday. Let me just skip ahead a little bit. So, let's have a look. Sunday was today. So, you can see here I've got some showers around. Some may be locally heavy, and that's going to move northeast. With some countries that thicker cloud amount. We couldn't even see some showers in southeast of that cloud thickens enough. Now on to Monday. This is the first day of the heat wave. This is probably the coolest day of the week, actually. We've got some showers around, some clear spells, but we're going to see some heavy showers affecting northern Scotland, southern Scotland there. But again, widely quite clear in most areas. Tuesday, which is probably one of the more severe days. There's barely any clouds or precipitation around. Upset, obviously, the far northwest, where we could see some. We've got a weak weather front here, which could bring significantly cooler temperatures than obviously the rest of the country, which is probably going to be a huge contrast as well. But widely, not many clouds. But if it was a cloud, it'd be high level clouds. But probably could be wall to wall blue skies. Now let's have a look over to Wednesday. Again, plenty of sunny spells around, not many clouds. There's a little bit of clouds, actually, in the southern area. Again, we've still got some rain in northwest Scotland. May fizzle out a little bit, though. Excuse me. And on to Thursday, you can see some more cloudy, Thursday morning, more cloud around, a bit more showers. So it's likely we could get some more fundy showers going on. Very uncertain about that, but it's very likely we could get, after Thursday, some quite nasty downpours, let's say. Thunder showers or some. We'll look at the Cape levels later, but I think the Cape is very high for that day, actually. So we'll see what happens there. So now looking at the temperatures, probably the most important bit, actually. Don't know why it's done that. Looking at the temperatures, so today, let's see how accurate it went today. So it should have got 30 Celsius, and it got to 30 Celsius, which is quite good on the UKV, so it's been quite accurate today. So that's probably would take these temperatures a bit more seriously if it's it's accurate in predicting temperatures. So it did go up to 30 degrees, and it says 30 degrees there, which is good. That one. So let's go over to what is it? 49th hour or 48th hour to Monday. It could be widely a lot hotter in areas, especially in southern areas, central areas. You can see that heat is spreading further north. You can see even to Scotland, actually. It's getting a bit more mild as well as you get the heat creeping in. So we're in northern areas, probably about mid, perhaps high 20, well, probably more mid-20s for now in northern England. Now, looking at southern England, we could see widely 30 Celsius over probably low to mid-30s possible. So widely 32, 33, perhaps even 34 Celsius is possible. But widely exceeding the 30-degree mark there. So let's look over to... You can see already with the nights, very, very mild nights to come. You can see at midnight in southern areas are still at 22 Celsius, still 24 there actually. Very, very uncomfortable. A bit more, it's a lot more comfortable in northeastern areas though, because we've got more of like a sea breeze, I'm guessing, as well. Now looking on for today on Tuesday, probably the first day of the severe heat wave actually. Look at this. Ridiculous temperature. I think it's overdoing it just slightly, so I take off 1 degree from that, but we'll see what happens. But we can see the heat has definitely spreaded across to the north. You see, even in the north area, even to Scotland, we're getting to into mid-20s. I think that's the third effect going on there. 25, 26 Celsius in near, right between Glasgow and Edinburgh. Looking over to the northern England, we can see widely low to mid-30s. That's northern England. But into southern England, South East England, central, southern and East Anglia, we are forecasting mid to high 30s. You can see widely 37, 38, perhaps even 39 Celsius, which is a very serious temperature, which is, can definitely cause a lot of impacts. Now, that's what the UKV say. I'm going to just say it anyway, just in case we get that chance. But more likely, seeing probably widespread 37s and 38 degrees, but it's still likely we could see a 39. We'll see what happens. So yeah, very, very, very hot indeed. And you can see even in a nighttime, it's very barely going down. And you can see into midnight, very uncomfortable temperatures to sleep in. Look at this, 28 degrees at midnight. And probably the lowest it's going to get, in the southeast, is 25 Celsius, which could actually even break the warmest night on record. It's not far, actually, for that to happen, to be honest with you. So we'll have to see what happens there. Yeah, like I said, possible impacts going on there. Very uncomfortable nights. Again, very humid as well, because obviously at night is where the humidity rapidly rises. Okay, so let's see what we need to do there. But you can see also in northwestern areas, it's a lot more comfortable. Still leaving out the mid-teens, but let's see in Scotland, more comfortable night sleeping than in Northern England. Could still see 20 Celsius though. But I think it's more comfortable than obviously where it is going to be in London. That's literally our average temperature there at night, showing how ridiculous the heat is. On to Wednesday, a touch degree down in some areas, but it's about the same really. Still could cause a lot of impacts. We can see also the heat is kind of is not as noticeable in Scotland and Northern England. We could still see some 20 Celsius there in Aberdeenshire, 22 there. And on to Northern England, we're not less likely to see 30 Celsius, but we could still widely see 31, 32 Celsius in Lincolnshire, East Yorkshire area. Now, again, we are still seeing some serious temperatures into the south, all of southern areas, basically. Could still see temperatures widely into the mid-30s, probably less likely in the high 30s, perhaps high 30s in some areas, but most likely mid-30s. So we could see 36, 37, still could pull out in 38 Celsius in Wednesday, if we don't have any pesky clouds in anywhere or whatever. Now, looking over to Thursday, which could be the hottest run so far. It's going to be surprising, and I think it may be a little bit of an outlier. But you can see, again, very, very uncomfortable night. Still seeing 25 Celsius, 23 Celsius there. And it's spreading a little bit further north as well, more 20s as well. Oops. Let's just put that back. Let's go over to the hottest day, if it lets me. There we go. Watch what happens here. Look at this. This, it's likely this could be an outlier, but I'll say it just in case it happens. We are widely, even to the northern areas, northwestern areas, which is very unusual to see that hot temperatures, actually. And Scotland is actually getting hotter. Ireland as well, you can see 29 Celsius there in Republic Island. Let's just go from north to south. Scotland is actually slightly warmer day. In Glasgow area, we could actually see 28 Celsius, which is exceptionally warm for their average, actually. Moving on to Northern England, actually, in northeastern areas, it's a lot cooler because we've got a more of a North Sea breeze. So if you want to escape the heat, I would definitely go in the northeastern areas, the northeastern coast, because you can see it's just low 20s there, basically. Maybe you're 28. Western areas and northwestern areas could still see some 30 Celsius, maybe mid-30s, 34, 33. In there, but we've got core of heat, which is in southwestern areas, Bristol area, Cardiff, London, which we could see, let's say, high 30s, or low, I'll say, most areas would be seen in the south, mid to high 30s, but if the conditions are right, we could potentially see 40 Celsius, which is absolutely ridiculous to see in June. I mean, even, at least if it was in July, then obviously that's the hottest month of the year. But this is in June, which is, it's not exactly the hottest month. Actually, I think July and August is hotter months. So seeing 40 Celsius, it could break records. It could even break the UK temperature record of 40.3, or get very close to it, which is absolutely ridiculous. We're seeing that. I've not even seen the temperatures being up there, but it's off the scale with how high temperatures are, which is ridiculous. So obviously, if that had to happen, which is fairly unlikely, I think it's more going to be like 37, 38 degrees. But if it happened, it's quite a scary outlier though. We'll see how many ones say 40 Celsius, and we'll see. But yeah, that's kind of what happens, really. Now, really quickly, we're going to look at the Cape levels to see what the chances are of having at least a couple of thunderstorms, which is going to start after Monday. You can see some significant Cape levels there. Southwestern area, South Wales, Bristol area, and even some in the Northern England there. Seeing Cape levels over 2,000 is actually ridiculous. Get some very strong thunderstorms. It's unlikely, actually, because we don't just have Cape. We need wind shear. We need high humidity, high heat, and we need like a low pressure systems nearby, like a thundery breakdown. So it's fairly. We could see the odd isolated severe thunderstorms though, which is very likely, more likely than not. And on to Tuesday, the Cape intensifies a lot. 2,300 joules of Cape. Again, if there's any isolated shower or thunderstorm, that could be very severe. Large hail, frequent lightning, torrential rain, and gusty winds as well. So, especially in that core there, if that had to happen, that's like very uncertain, but that is a track. It's like a theme that could go on. UKV is suggesting very high Cape levels. I mean, I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but if it had to happen, very severe isolated thunderstorms possible there. And similarly, on to Thursday, very severe isolated thunderstorms possible again, and even into Southern Ireland there, and even to Scotland, some very high. So if we get any showers forming, it breaks the cap level, we could see very, very strong thunderstorms. Finally, looking at some model ones, GFS, ECMWF, and arpeg, and looking at what they're saying about the heat. If I can get this on. Oops, let me just reset this now. There we go. So let's have a look and see what has arisen this heat, basically. Looking at the pressure charge. We'll also look at the mid to high range, basically, the medium range of that. You can see here we're on a very strong area of high pressure here, which is originating from the continent. You can see it peaks over into midweek. We can see some very high temperatures there, very high thickness from the reds. You can notice though into the end of the week, you can see definitely a thundery breakdown. That is the perfect weather for thundery breakdowns. We've got low pressure to the north, which is there, and we've got high pressure. Let me just screenshot this here. So we've got low pressure to the north, which could provide a lot of instability there. Some rain, frontal shifters, which is going to collide with the high pressure, which is the perfect ingredients for instability and very large thunderstorms, especially what temperature, the high humidity levels we saw as well. And as we go along the week, we do actually have the high pressure kind of break. It's trying to build in, but we've got this very weak low pressure system that's going in. Again, that could bring the odd isolated thunderstorm and showers. But you can see here into July, this is GFS saying this, we could still see high pressure building in. So there's not really any signs of it getting, let's say, wetter immediately, let's say. I wouldn't say it's going to get wet exactly after like Saturday next week. It's most likely going to be after July where we could see some low pressure systems. You can see here, The Atlantic is going a northwesterly direction with some low pressure systems coming from the northwest, providing some cooler weather, wet, windy conditions in time for July. So that's 5th of July there. So it's quite a long way away, actually. So plenty of time for high pressure to build in. Could even see some further high pressure building in from the northwest. So let's have a look at the depiction of what the thickness is, which is obviously the how thick the atmosphere is. You can see here how high temperatures would get if that had to happen. So you can see the peak temperatures, again, way in the reds, into the 24 degree isotherm, which is an area of atmosphere at 800 metres over the Earth. Okay? So what that means is it's going to... So 24 degrees higher up in the atmosphere at 850 HPA to 1,800 hectopascals. It's possible to get very high temperatures, mid to high 30s is likely in that range, which is ridiculous. If you have a look at what they are saying about the temperatures for GFS, that's a bit foreshadowing there. Over to Tuesday, so I'm just going to look at the 3 days. So on GFS, it kind of calms down the heat just a little bit. I think the GFS is not really that great for forecasting short-term range, more long-term. This was actually the first model that kind of predicted this high-pressure system to come over, but looking at this, it's still showing very high temperatures, though. So all the models are in agreement of getting still 37, 38 degrees. So, again, looking at the southern areas, you can still see 37 to 38 Celsius there, widely into 30s in the north as well. Now we're over to... Let's have a look. Wednesday. Oh, that's not Wednesday. Let me see. Right, there we go. So look over to Wednesday. This is, again, very similar model to the UKV. We can see low to even mid-30s in the northwestern England, and that heat spreading further into northern England and Scotland. We can see highs in the southeast, 37, 38 degrees is possible. Still very hot. So again, no disagreement there. Over to Thursday, again very similar. Very similar temperatures. Again, heat is very similar actually. Very similar to Wednesday actually. Mid to high 20s in Scotland. We've got low to mid 30s in northern England, and we've got mid to high 30s in southern England. Again, so could see 37, 38 degrees possible in southern England. And probably not the best idea looking at the long range, so I'm going to leave it there for now. Now looking over to the ECM, let's see what they say about this, which is very likely to be quite similar. Again, we've got high pressure building to the southeast of areas or the continent. Why is this not doing this? Okay. See how thick it is as well. So the reds indicate the thickness of the atmosphere very high, with high pressures firmly to southern England. It's going to shift a bit east as we go along the week as well, and it could actually introduce a thundery breakdown into Friday. As you can see, low pressure to the west, high pressure to the east. You can see it's the major thundery downpours. It then builds back in on Sunday. Then we've got into next week, we've got more low pressure systems to the north in the Netherlands, but high pressure to the south, so a bit of a contrast there. You can see a ridge here of low pressure systems and jet stream, which gonna go southwards, so we can see some unsettled cool weather arriving for the northern half of the UK, so Scotland, northwestern England, Northern Ireland, but still in the southern England we can still see above average temperatures as well before we get a proper break for this heat. Looking at the thickness above the atmosphere then, if I can find it, again, very similar idea to the GFS, really. So not really any disagreement. Like I said, no disagreement. It's very strong. They're very confident about this, actually. However, I think one difference is, I think the GFS ECM is suggesting more of a thundery breakdown into Thursday rather than Friday. So we could see thunderstorms perhaps making a bit earlier into Thursday, which could actually reduce the temperatures just a little bit. More in western areas, I don't know if that's going to be true. It may reduce the temperatures to a large extent. Onto that. When I'm looking at the, where is it, the arpege, if I have a look at it, 2 metre, have I not got the Atlantic on here? No, don't have it. If I look at their depiction of the temperatures, It only goes up to Tuesday, but again, still could see. If I'm being honest, I think it is shifting it a bit more northern areas rather than central southern areas, more Midlands areas where we could see mid to high 30s. So still 36, 37. I think they are underdoing just a little bit with the temperatures there. Still could see 38 degrees though into there, into that area. And now looking over to the, what else should we look at? UK Euro one, UKM, which will show the temperatures. So looking over to Tuesday, we can see here again very similar high temperatures. If not, I think they definitely are. It could be a little bit higher than this. Looking at all the models I've seen for so far. So still 35, 36 Celsius they're saying here. Again, possibly like 37 Celsius according to this model. And very similar temperatures on Wednesday. So 36, 37 degrees. Still quite hot, but not as extreme as I've seen on the other ones actually. But still very life-threatening weather. Still in the north areas. Then over to Thursday, it's suggesting the temperatures to be the highest on Thursday again. So widely mid to high mid 30s, so 35, 36, 37 Celsius is possible as well. You can see the last of the heat there on to Friday. Still 30 Celsius on Friday. We can see a funding breakdown into the west there. Now, finally, look at the UK Euro one for midnight Friday. So let's have a look. So again, suggesting high pressure systems to the south. Then it shifts further west. We've got low pressure to the west, which could provide a funding breakdown into Friday. So very similar ideas really. We've got low pressure to the west at the end. We've got high pressure going to the east, introducing funding breakdown at the end. So that's probably the relief we can see. So let's have a look at the temperatures at 850 HPA. Let's have a look and see how extreme they will get. To Tuesday, we could see, let's have a look, 24 Celsius above 850 HPA, which will provide mid to high 30s Celsius. Then over to, I should say Wednesday, shouldn't it? Wednesday, again, very similar, 23 Celsius, again, mid to high 30s is possible in that range. Then over to Thursday, 24, 20, even 25 Celsius, which is very exceptional to the time of the year. But still could see widely. 23, 24, perhaps even 25 Celsius at 850 HPA, which is going to provide mid to high 30s, perhaps even low 40s, but very unlikely to get to low 40s though. Right, we're done. Thank you very much for watching. Again, just make sure you're safe in the heat, because it does very comfortably, as we see here, see to build into there. So I'll provide some updates on if they will get a red warning, which is most likely going to be issued soon, in my opinion. I think they should actually. And we'll see what happens there. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video if that happens.